Well, Katherine and Sarah, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. This is such a treat. Oh my goodness.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, Nikki and I are obsessed with Firefly Lane. I mean,
Obsessed.
you binge city for us. And even with our mother, it's so cute. Like we all binge it together. We're texting each other during the episodes.
My husband, Artem, was very upset that I binged it without him. And so when I was telling him what I was doing today, I was like, talking to like, can't you wait to see the last season? He's like, no, because you watched it without me. So now I have to watch it by myself. And I'm like, well, you know what? It's one of those shows you just can't wait to watch. And it's like, sorry, if you're not home that night, you miss out. So, talking Firefly Lane, how does it feel being the last season?
Sad.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the job. I loved the people. I loved the story. I loved the character. I loved that it shot in my hometown, and I loved hanging out with that group of people every day, and that you can't really replicate. So I will miss it for sure.
Yeah,
What about
same.
you, Katherine?
It was just such an extraordinary experience, and it's just this remarkable bittersweetness, I guess. It was really hard to say goodbye to these characters. I fell so deeply in love with them in this relationship, and it felt so real to me in so many ways. And it was just hard to let them go. But I walked away with a friend for life and many friends for life. And it was an extraordinary experience. So there's all that sweetness about it too. So I can't be too bitter.
I know I even felt so sad when I heard it was the last season, because I do have to say both your characters, you do fall so deeply connected to them and you learn a lot from them. I think it was such a great time and, life where you're working on yourselves. But like, I know I'm someone who works a lot from my childhood and explains a lot of what I do in life. And so I connected so much to that. And I mean, almost everyone we've talked to just has fallen in love with that. And your chemistry, both of your chemistry on screen, it's like as if you were sisters.
I agree. Was that chemistry like the first time you read together? Were you just like, whoa, like we should have been doing this like forever?
I think it was the first time we met. We were like, oh, okay, this is going to be really fun.
It's almost an unfair advantage, quite frankly. Like it was so effortless and easy with Sarah instantly. And I think anytime you're around somebody with the kind of heart Sarah has, it's just, it just changes everything. That all defenses, all insecurities, all fears of just what it can be to go into the world and make new friends goes right away, because you're dealing with somebody who is just innately good and decent and kind and accepting. So I got to just be myself instantly, and it was such a relief.
Oh, I love that.
You both seem so close, and I'm sure it's like music to everyone's ears because you as best friends on screen was just such a treasure. Is there any fun stories or experiences that you both have had on set the last couple seasons?
Like almost too many to count.
It's true. It's sort of like every day. We should have kept a diary.
I know.
The like zoom out picture is that it was just, it was so hard doing that. The last 7, they're emotional and you're doing all these scenes. And thank God that we had as much fun as we did, because we would just be, in the middle of something really challenging. And then we would just like take a break, get out of it and make each other laugh. And I feel like if like for specific things that stand out, it was just like, whether it's, you have 20 minutes during a lighting setup, and often, people will just disperse or whatever, and we would just hang out and be like, and then what happened? And then what happened? And we had, ridiculous traditions that just kind of develop over time. And it's part of the gift of coming back to a season and coming back to a show as opposed to starting a new one. As a cast, we would do these ridiculous vocal warm-up tongue twisters, even if it was like a dancing scene where you weren't speaking. You didn't need to warm up your voice. I don't need to warm up my voice anyways. I don't usually do that anyways on a job, but we had
I'm like, can we kind of hear one of them?
Oh my God.
Susie works in a shoe shine shop. Where she shines, she sits, and where she sits, she shines.
No. Oh, please, Brie, try
Oh
that.
gosh, I
Try
would
it, try it,
bomb
Brie.
that.
She's the worst with S's. Try it.
Susie shines.
You
uh,
lost.
gosh.
Susie, Susie
Shoe
works in a shoe
shine-
shine shop.
Susie works at a shoe shine shop.
And where she shines, she sits, and where she sits, she shines.
Oh gosh, where she shits? Oh shit. Sorry. Sits.
Oh,
Dang it.
Well, you
Where
know,
she
Susie had a
sits.
shit.
Yeah.
So,
Dang
all
it.
right.
And
then-
shine.
And then it
Damn.
would just go off. It would just devolve into these weird stories about Susie and where she was working and what was happening in the shop. And then I actually took it home with me. Like my daughter, who was 5 at the time, she'd be like falling asleep, and she'd be like, "What's that place that Susie works, Mama?" I'd be like, "She works in the shoe shine shop." And then, of course, for a 5-year-old to try it and then to say shit by accident and then losing your mind. But it was that, and we had we. After everybody had been in lockdown for so long, we finally got to go back to work with all these people. So I'd have game nights at my house, and we'd all play running charades, and it would devolve into an evening of dancing and doing the lift from Dirty Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Lift it up maybe. And we had
we put an embargo on anybody filming at those parties.
totally.
Any of this.
Oh my God, I love
Yeah, that was an important embargo. We were just recapping before how you come into the green room, and I guess I would kind of spread out a little bit. Because like if there's 11 people and only 2 are working, you kind of just sit in a chair beside the person you're talking to. So like if Ben wasn't there, then I would sit there and I'd put my jacket on Lauren's chair and I'd put my phone maybe over here and then maybe my soup. So then I came in one day and there was just yellow Post-it notes because I wasn't aware of this behavior. So then I would just come in and be yellow Post-it notes like Sarah's soup chair, Sarah's jacket chair, Sarah's script chair, Sarah's sides chair, Sarah's Instagram backdrop, Sarah's support plant, Sarah's like, it was just like, everyone was like, okay, got it. Message received. I need to rein it in. Just bring it together, put it on my chair.
Yeah. So that's what I need to do for you. This is good. I'm going to do the Post-it thing. Good.
Yeah, just post it on a Sharpie. That's all you
Yeah.
need.
You know?
Then I'll
It's
train
just
you.
because we walk into a room and I just feel very welcome. So, I
Just
can
very
get a soup
comfortable.
chair and a jacket chair and
Yeah.
That's the way you
No.
should. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, so Nikki and I, every time we'd go out to the wrestling ring, we'd always do a certain ritual where we'd get in our warrior pose, or we'd like say these certain prayers together before we'd go out and entertain the audience. Do either of you have any rituals before you would go into a scene that you kind of do all the
Well, I mean,
time?
they would do Susie sells seashells.
Well,
Shoot. I was about
yes,
to mess
but
it up.
There was some of that. The tongue twister. Mostly we were literally like talking like this and talking to each other about whatever's going on in each other's lives. And then they go be like, okay. And we'd go immediately into like our characters. We're like, we'd have to be like, stop. Can you stop talking?
It's just- totally. It was always very quickly because you always get a lot in between takes. So then,
Yeah.
and it was like they would say cut, and then you just pick up where you left off, and
Right.
then someone said to them. And then,
Oh my gosh, I love
also
that.
before takes, so the first season, I guess my daughter was like 3 and my son was 9. And so like, it's just like all that stuff of balancing, like being a mom and working. And so I guess what I learned about myself is when I text, I auto text, and I always say ... So it became something that everyone made fun of me for the entire run of the show, because before a scene we'd be rolling and I'd be like, Terry Ann ... So the hockey equipment is in the left garage. If you go under the thing, don't forget the ... And so I would just get mocked for this all the time. And there was one time where we had to get teacher gifts. And so I had asked Terry Ann if she would pick up for me some muffin mixes. And while she was there, she was like, is there anything else? And I said, I don't think I've got a muffin pan. Could you grab a muffin pan? And so she said, there's no muffin pan here. Is it an emergency? Like, she was wondering if I needed to make muffins that night, which I did not. So we're about, like, they were literally like rolling, but I didn't want her waiting on me. And I was like, Terry Ann ... The muffin pan is not an emergency ... And Brendan, all he overhears, and they've already been making so much fun of me about this. So all he overhears, he goes, excuse me, did you just say the muffin pan is not an emergency? And I was like, I did.
You always know what's going on. And Sarah's like, she's dictating into her phone. You're
Oh
like,
my God. That is me. Have you ever on auto text said space and then it's like but I wanted a space in something, and I'll say the word space. A
But
lot
they
of the time,
write it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
and
But
then
once you know you as well as Sarah's phone knows her, it will do what you want it to do.
Yes,
I
but
need to
then
get there, Sarah.
But then it creates another problem because when you don't like, there's one of the cast members and I who only text in writing out emojis in long form. So it has to be like party hat emoji, thumbs up emoji, sad face upside down, but then it will just make the emoji, but I want it to be in long form. So then I
Yeah.
have this problem.
Yeah.
See, what I hate when I do it, I always will say my husband's name, Brian, but they always spell it the wrong way. So I feel like when these text messages go out to people, they're like, she doesn't even spell her husband's name right. And I never like correct it because, you're going fast.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, I should probably start correcting that because people probably think I don't know how to spell Brian's name right. It always
Yeah.
spells it wrong.
Yeah. Well, I just need to start doing ... Because see, I do
Yeah.
space, but I need ...
Yeah, you got to get your punctuation in there. You got to really understand all of that. And yeah, Sarah's got a real beat on it.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Because I could tell like this series is so close to both your hearts. Is there something that you want people to take away from this last season when they watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
No, you go.
I was gonna say one of the cool takeaways of the first one after it had aired was, people saying it just made me reach out to my best friend and I just watched them all and then I called them or we watched it together. And I think especially after, everything happened with COVID and people didn't get to see everyone as much as they wanted to. We heard that kind of a little bit again after part 1 aired. So I feel like if that's a takeaway, that people come out of it and they kind of reflect on how important their best friend is to them, or that their friendships are to them, or the people close to them in their lives are, or their siblings or whatever. I think that would be a pretty cool takeaway to have.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I think that for me, that's kind of it too. I feel like the perspective of it that, it really hits home the idea of what matters most in life, like what really matters most. And it's so easy to get confused and distracted and just immersed in the hustle of, what living can be, but what I think is real life, what is truly the purpose and meaning of life are those relationships and how you treat them, how you value them, how you grow in them. And that to me is the message of this particular story and why I love it so much, because I do think it's such a purposeful story and I do think it's so relatable. And I do think it is just an overwhelmingly true look at what matters.
Right. I agree. And I feel like so many people do take that away. And I have to say, there's so many series out there that, you'll watch and binge, but this one, you both should be so proud because I can't believe how many people we talk to and you take something away from it when you watch, whether it's you're calling your best friend or a family member, but you feel something from both your characters that I feel like we can all learn in life and just with mental health and the struggles, but getting over them and through them. So, gosh, congratulations on just such a beautiful series. And it's sad to see it done, I will say, but congratulations.
Well, I always say I look forward to the movie because I feel like series like this, you always need a
Right?
movie.
I agree.
Yeah. So
Yes. Okay,
Netflix.
that's maybe how we bring the band back together.
Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Back in.
We got
Awesome.
to know like the years down the road and it's the 2-hour movie. Yeah, we need the movie.
Yeah.
So
we just
that's-
hashtag it to Netflix.
Yeah. Or I'm going to just put it on my vision board. Oh, thank you both for being on the podcast. And we always do love to end our podcast with a little bit of affirmation inspiration. So I don't know if there's any motto that you both live by that you would love to share with our listeners or a quote.
One that I was raised with, one of my dad's favorite ones is the best time to plant an apple orchard was 20 years ago and the second best time is today.
Ooh, I love that. I've never heard that.
I've
That's
never heard that
powerful.
either.
Real deep. I like it. My mother says things to me like you can't have your cake and eat it too. And if you want to dance, pay the band. I was like 10 and I was like, what does that even mean? Why couldn't I eat my cake? But now I think I read in a book recently and I really loved it. And it's very, it's been said and said and said, but essentially why borrow tomorrow's problems today? So I've been trying to repeat that to myself quite a bit lately. Like, stop projecting and stop worrying about tomorrow and the next day and the next week and the next month. Just stay present. Stay right here, right now.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one,
That
especially as
is.
moms.
Yeah.
Because I feel
hard.
like I'm
Yes.
such a worrier and I'm always thinking about the future and I'm like, "Oh, I need to stop doing this." And
Be present. I know.
Yeah.
yes.
I do. I tell
I have
myself
a
that
second
too.
one. Am I allowed to have two? I have a second
Oh
one.
yes, we love
Yes.
it.
So I just saw Zach's movie, A Good Person, which is so moving. And so, have you seen it? It's so beautiful.
Oh.
No.
Okay,
Oh,
I
you
need
need
to
to
put that
watch
on my
it.
list.
And so at the end, there's this tattoo that Morgan Freeman's character gets. It says Amor Fati, which means love your fate. And I've just
Oh.
thought a lot about that since. And I thought it was so beautiful.
Wow.
Love that.
Love
Love
your
your
fate.
And I gotta check that. That's gonna take some time. I like it. What does it mean?
Yeah. Which
Good.
it's so true because I always try to tell people when they struggle on their journey, it's like there was a plan and this is your journey and you have to listen to your intuition and your gut because it's leading you the right way. And that just reminds me of love your fate. Like this is your purpose. This is what you're supposed to be here to do and love it. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time.
I
This
know.
really meant
It
a lot to
meant
us.
that you guys came on
Oh,
our
yeah.
podcast.
I mean,
so
we
thank
called our
you.
mom right away. We're like, you're not gonna believe it.
Yeah.
So cute.
You did.
No, thank
I
you for
know.
having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys.
Yes, it was so great. You guys have a beautiful day.
You too.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.